request that maybe Adil and Shahid, if you can come on the stage here, and we'll take the question as it comes. So do we have an extra mic? Can you?
The CEO and Dean share.
Go up for them to ask questions. Okay, questions? Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Rain, General Economic Circle. That much with you now. And when I came to America 50 years ago, there were 22,000 Pakistani American doctors. Now we have over 20,000. The AKU alumni are very important and integral part of APNA now. Our current president of APNA is the first time in 40-year history of APNA we have AKU alumni who's president of APNA. For somebody from Sindh, Karachi, Hyderabad, I have seen all this really in front of my own eyes. And I've been there several times, and I have several family members who have gone to medical school there. I think whatever you have said is not only true, but I think you have underestimated your own capacity. I think the contribution to the country and few ideas, and this is my main point, is I think asset to Pakistan. There are a lot of people here, businessmen, engineers, and yes, doctors. We need to start a movement to get these people back to Pakistan, like you have done, to build the country. I think let AKU be the leader and be the first to start a movement to get back the asset back to Pakistan.
Well, as much as I appreciate what you said, Dr. So first of all, thank you so much, and I want to recognize Apna President, and so coming from you, this means a lot, what you just said, really, really means a lot. But I want to say, Dr. Saab, you know, as much as I appreciate that, because it would help me recruit people, because I'm always trying to recruit someone. I'm looking for a new chair of radiology, by the way, if you know anybody. You know, whereas it's great to get more people to come to Pakistan, the key that we're talking about is the feeling. We want you to know, and all of you to know, iska AKU se taluk nahi hai. We want all of you to know that there is a lot of possibility in Pakistan. And AKU is an example of what can be done. And that's what really we want you to know. And so if you want to come back to Pakistan or you want to contribute in another way, you know, AKU is an example. And if you want to work through AKU or work with AKU, we are here. You will have all of our information. We're very happy to facilitate help. And also, if you want to donate money, I'm happy to take it. So, I wasn't supposed to say that, but bar bar kar gaya tha.
So, well, I'm just gonna start. But Dr. Rain just mentioned starting a movement. Here's an example. People in my WhatsApp group want to start a specific orthopedics department. I think he already talked to you, which doesn't exist over there, that particular branch. So I do post it in my group. So this is one of the people who are inspired and they are planning to move back. But more on a healthcare note is you mentioned something about women's cardiac events. And in the United States, I don't know about Pakistan, but in the United States, all the research has been done on men. And I keep telling our healthcare system that, you know, there's no research on women, and women cardiac symptoms are very subliminal, and there's not enough research done. So I don't know if Aga Khan is leading any particular research, as you mentioned, women empowerment and research initiatives. If you have any progress, made in that regard.
I'll make a research response, and then maybe Shahid can talk a little bit more about women empowerment. you were absolutely right in what you've said. And in the United States, the National Institutes of Health has shown multiple occasions that women are not represented in research the way they should be, nowhere near, and especially underrepresented minorities are completely not represented in research, and that is, of course, much to the detriment of society. One good thing about being in Pakistan is we can learn from other places. Even in COVID, one thing that did happen to our benefit was we learned a lot about what was happening in the West, and we applied it immediately. And so that lesson is, we are learning that lesson very quickly. Just this Monday, at the Aga Khan University, I'm very proud to tell you, we did something which is not even happening in the United States. You might have noticed that when a lot of these scientific panels happen, many times it's just men, right? Men talking about women's issues, right? How's that supposed to work? And so at the Aga Khan University, we have literally created a policy outlawing what's been commonly known as manels, like men-only panels. We basically said you can't have them. And not only that, but any scientific panel or committee must have gender balance in it. This is like a now policy of the medical college. And when I was at Johns Hopkins this morning, and when the dean there, she knew about it, and she was like, "Wow, how did you get this thing passed? Because I'm trying to get it passed and I can't." Right? So it's incredible what you can do if you put your mind to it. But maybe a little bit more, Shah.
Just a few other statistics about women empowerment. A lot of our nursing students nowadays, they come from northern areas. And they are the first in their families to come to a university and get education. And through that, their entire families are lifted out of poverty. In addition to nursing, we have women employees, we have women engineers working at the university. We have women in IT who are working, and of course, offices, women in leadership roles in HR, and women in finance and accounting. So places where you would not expect. Our first chairperson of the Department of Surgery was a woman. So AKU has a long tradition of empowering women and supporting women in their careers.
And just to be clear, I think that's one of the reasons why we've been successful. Right? So to be clear.
Do you have a student exchange program with AKU with any American institutions?
Yes, we routinely send students for electives. And it goes decades back. I, as a student, rotated at the Mayo Clinic, and that was my first exposure to U.S. systems. As I mentioned, Zainab, the person I talked about, she's rotated at Duke, and till today, our students we're grateful that they get to come to some of the best institutions in the United States. And of course, it's a reciprocal thing. We routinely take students. Because of COVID right now, that's been put on pause. Most places, the elective's on pause, but hopefully we'll be able to restart it. One thing that I think even today somebody has mentioned, and something we're considering, and if there's enough interest, we will probably look into this, is to create a program for undergraduates in the US that want to come to Pakistan and spend some clinical time, get some clinical exposure, even if they're pursuing medical college here in the United States, but be able to immerse themselves, especially if they're of Pakistani origin, to learn a little bit about their heritage, spend some months in Karachi. We've thought of a program like that, and if we find enough interest after COVID, we will certainly pursue it.
Go ahead, just ask your question.
Okay, so thank you so much, first of all, for presenting such a beautiful presentation, and we are really thrilled to see what Pakistan has to offer, what Pakistan and especially the AK University offer. And as I was going through Dr. Shahid's presentation, it said first, everything first, first, first. And I really love that first thing. And I'm really inspired to see all that. Although we know that we belong from that part of the country, we belong to Pakistan, but we are so busy in our day-to-day life here, so-called American lifestyle that we forget sometimes. But this is a nice gathering here where we are all together and celebrating our accomplishments. So I take that opportunity for myself, and as my family is all here too, to introduce myself as specialized in a very specialized field as a rehab practitioner and doing prosthetics and orthotics. I graduated in 1994 from Peshawar Khyber Medical College and doing the prosthetics and orthotics. I went to Germany to do my master's and PhD programs over there, and ended up landed here in the United States and never left the country. So I'm also the first Asian Pakistani woman who's a gold medalist in the rehab. Thank you. So now I take this opportunity to see when I was going through the presentation, I'm asking this question: are there any facilities available at the Aga Khan University hospitals to facilitate for rehabilitation, for amputees, for crippled, for handicapped? Back then, when I was about to join the program, I came to know Dr. Philip D'Souza, your orthopedic surgeon, and I'm feeling proud to mention his name because he was the one, he inspired me to move forward with this program.
That's wonderful. I'm really thrilled to hear your story. And there are many stories like this. I want to make two comments here. One is that at AKU we do have a full department of physical therapy and rehab medicine, and we specialize in multiple areas. But there's always room for growth. So we'll be happy to talk to you about that. There are other areas, other institutions that are also providing similar services. Obviously they're not at the same level as you would see here. But the second point that I want to make is that the Pakistani diaspora that is living in the US, there are multiple ways to serve Pakistan. Not all of it requires going back to Pakistan. And I think a lot of us feel that if we are living here and we are living a busy life and we are living a good life and we are raising our kids here, somehow we are shortchanging ourselves. Please don't think that way. I think it is great that you all are here. We were here, and we are all product of the opportunities that US has provided us. And it is great that you are progressing here, and everything that you do, every time you succeed here, it is a success for Pakistan. And for our alumni, I tell them that if you succeed here, it's a success for AKU. So the university's vision is not simply to uplift one part of the world. The university's vision is to uplift people wherever our people are. So I think wherever you are, wherever you're serving, it is great that you serve your community there. Thank you.